from the deepest, darkest recesses of Dangerous Nerds headquarters, Keith Moncrief and Gerry Kissel.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Pop Culture Minefield. That's Keith down there, and that's Brittany, and our guest today is Seth Breedlove, down in that corner.
It's like the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, I know. Brittany made that joke before. The Brady Bunch. So we're here to talk with Seth about his career as it's a mixture of filmmaker and documentarian. And, he's worked, he created the company Small Town Monsters. And they make little documentaries about these creatures from the Mothman, UFOs, Bigfoot, Boggy Creek. And I'm a huge fan. And also, I'm not a cryptozoologist or anything, but I've been, paying attention to that crap since I was a kid. I'm fascinated with Bigfoot. I watched that show, Hunting Bigfoot, on the History Channel. I was so irritated they never found really much of anything on that show.
They never do.
Hey, you're talking to someone that used to watch In Search Of all the time.
Yeah. My God, yes. I even watched a new one with Spock 2. And
Zachary Quanto.
So,
from Pittsburgh.
I'm going to show a quick trailer from the last movie you worked on, which was The Mothman Legacy. And here we'll share the screen, and I'll hit play.
As I laid on the mattress, I dozed off. I immediately started feeling like I was dreaming. I had a dream that my son, my 8-year-old son, was standing beside my bed. I remember in the dream asking him why he was there, who brought him there, and how did he get there. And I guess I had enough consciousness to know he shouldn't be there. So I immediately woke up, and when I did, there was this figure standing beside the bed. Had long arms, skinny like fingers, skinny arms, wings above its shoulders, and its face. I could see dark, large circles where its eyes would be.
And it was late in the evening. We're coming around the first curve, and the first curve will be near a graveyard, actually. And as we come around the curve, we slowed down, and the headlights hit something in the road. What they hit was a form. And for a split second, I thought, oh, it's a large bird in the middle of the road. It kind of stands up a little bit. With just one movement, it shot straight up.
When it got to that part of the house and went up over the house, you actually could hear it. I stood up, turned around to the back window of the bedroom, and you could see the shadow of whatever this was flying over the field to the back of the house.
One, who's your DP?
Zach Palmisano. He's been Zach. So the core sort of Small Town Monsters crew is myself, directing and editing, and then Zach has been DP since Boggy Creek Monster, and then our sound recordist is Jason Udis, and the three of us have been friends since we were kids. So. And in fact, like the entire crew is pretty close knit. Like I always refer to us more as family than a typical crew. So Zach was Zach's one of my oldest friends. And the first night I met Zach, the first time we ever hung out, all I know or remember about that night is it ended with Zach clinging to the top of a van as we roared down a road chasing my brother, and Zach was filming it. So that was apparently a blueprint for what was to come.
It's good
The
stuff. I
footage-
really like yeah, it's gorgeous. It's really well photographed, and that's a sign that somebody gives a shit about what they're doing, and I like that. Because I'm a filmmaker as well, but I work behind the scenes more than anything now as a storyboard artist and stuff. Because I don't like actors; they annoy me. And
Yeah,
we had a long talk with who did we talk about with that, Keith?
That was our last one that we talked a little bit about.
Oh, Calora, that's right, Sandy Calora. You know who he is, right, Seth?
yeah. I think I was on a panel with him once.
He's a cool guy, man. I love that guy, and because he wants to make film, and I have film ideas, but I don't want to work on them because I don't like actors. I hit a point where it's like, I'm too old. I don't want to put up with you people. You annoy me. But you kind of don't, because what you're doing is, I'm sure you have reenactments in your films, but you mostly focus on interviews, which I like.
Well, yeah, I mean, we made a movie last year called Momo, the Missouri Monster, which is you were talking about like In Search Of and The Legend of Boggy Creek. Momo is a throwback to those movies, and it's like 50% narrative horror movie and 50% documentary. And so last year, yeah, I worked with actors, and it's funny you mentioned the Finding Bigfoot show, because Bobo and Cliff were in our movie. We put them in there as like these bumbling small town sheriffs that were chasing Bigfoot around the woods and stuff like that. So, and next year we're going to be making our first narrative horror movie. So yeah, I do documentaries right now, but I'm starting to do some narrative work as well.
Well, do not lose your DP buddy, because he's got a good eye.
Yeah, no.
Okay, whose dog is that? Brittany?
Sorry, I live in an apartment and she hears everything. Unfortunately, she's got big bad ears.
It's okay. So
He's kind of a jerk.
what, Keith? I'm sure you've got some questions. Shoot.
Well, first of all, what part of Ohio are you from?
I grew up in Bolivar, which is like just south of Canton. That's where I grew up. But right now I live in Wadsworth, which is just south of Cleveland. So I'm northeastern Ohio is my stomping grounds.
Woo! That's where I'm from, northeastern Ohio.
I saw that coming. I saw it. You set him up. Good God. I lived in Lake St. Mary, or on Lake St. Mary, when I was a kid in Ohio.
So we're all Ohioans except Britt, is what I'm picking up on.
I'm from
Britt's
Missouri.
cool like that.
Congratulations. Yeah. You lucked out.
She's from the state of misery.
Missouri, the show me state.
Mo. That's where Mama is.
Yeah, you said that, like your core group has been friends for a long time. Do you guys decide like what you're doing as a group? Like, how do you pick which monsters you decide to do?
Yeah, I think early on it was pretty much just me, because honestly, Zach and Jason couldn't care less about cryptids or UFOs or any of the stuff. They just like making movies and hanging out with their friends. So that's what we do. I'm the one that's into this stuff, and their interests are more technical, when it comes to the craft. But as time has gone on, I think we have started becoming a little bit more democratic about it, and everyone kind of has a say. Like when we were making Momo, we had a team meeting, which actually consisted of like 7 people, and we all sat down and figured out how to tell that story. But later this year, we're making a movie about the Bell Witch, which will be our first sort of, supernatural documentary. And I'm doing that mostly to mess with Jason, because Jason has been terrified of the Bell Witch since he was like 6 years old. And when he was in school, he was having like recurring nightmares about the Bell Witch, and his dad told him the only way to get rid of the nightmares was to like draw the Bell Witch and then burn the drawing. And I thought it'd be fun to make a movie where we could basically just terrorize Jason for the entire time. So So we'll be doing
friendship
that
right there.
Yeah, so we'll be doing that later this year. So yeah, it comes down to stuff that interests me, since I'm the one that'll really be involved in it for the longest with the editing and pre-production. But I do enjoy trying to get the other guys involved too, to pick projects, just because they're going to be stuck working on it too. So
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Everybody has to be interested in what they're working on.
yeah, and I don't think it's not hard for us to gain an interest in the subjects we're covering. When we made Momo, it was Jason helped write it. So even though Jason didn't have a big interest in UFOs or Bigfoot, he was interested in 70s drive-in movies and horror, and Momo is basically a throwback to that kind of thing. So, there's a lot of Jason in Momo. There's a conversation at the opening of Momo between these two girls about an Alice Cooper concert that he put, in the script and stuff like that. So it's easy enough for, I think, even Zach to get himself interested in what we're covering. It's just when it comes to actually picking it, typically it's me coming up with what we're doing.
Yeah, because he's probably. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No,
I was
you go
just saying,
ahead.
have you guys had anything like really weird happen? Like, because you're doing these like while you're like filming.
Unfortunately, we haven't. I need to start making stuff up, but yeah, so far there was an incident where we were filming interviews for Terror in the Skies in in a theater in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and Point Pleasant is where the Mothman is supposedly from.
Yep.
And of course there was a famous bridge collapse that killed 47 people. When the bridge collapsed, they actually took the bodies in this theater to be identified, and they sat in there for like 3 days apparently. So this movie theater is full of bodies, and that theater is where we show our movies every year when we do screenings at the Mothman Festival, and it was also where we happened to be shooting these interviews. And while we were shooting our interviews, all the batteries kept dying for no apparent reason, which was kind of weird. Like fully charged batteries just kept immediately draining. Lighting was going out, stuff like that. But other than that, I really we haven't had during a traditional SDM shoot. There's never been anything that we could be like, okay, that was a really unexplainable event. So
that's fascinating.
You're like, yeah, Bigfoot just walked on set. You're like, it was weird. He like grabbed a cup of coffee and then left.
Yeah. What we need to do is like have someone dress up like Bigfoot and just walk by in like the background of an interview shot or something, and then we can use that in the publicity for it and market the movie off that.
Exactly. Hey, take over for a second, Keith. I've got to deal with a pet.
Okay, so in your formative years when you were much younger, what was it that really drove you? Now, obviously, you watched a lot of horror films, comics. What else was there for you?
So when I was growing up, I wanted to make movies, actually. So I had always been. I didn't get into the paranormal and cryptids and all this kind of stuff till way later. I was in my late 20s when I gained any kind of interest in like Bigfoot or any of this kind of stuff. But movies were always my thing. I wanted to be a film director. And I was a big, I was raised on like Ray Harryhausen movies and Hammer horror and that kind of stuff. So as a kid, that was what I loved. And that was, you can see some of that in our movies, like the Flatwoods Monster, Legacy of Fear is basically one big homage to the Forbidden Planet and, the 1940s, late 1940s, early 1950s B movies that I loved when I was little. And so I try to instill as much of that stuff in our movies as I can. Especially like some of these subjects, it's easy to integrate the stuff that I love into the movies. Other projects, it's really difficult and you just can't do it. But with with the Flatwoods Monster, we were able to make a movie that had stop motion effects and all kinds of, really 1950s sci-fi stuff in it. But yeah, movies were always big for me when I was little. My sisters, I have two older sisters, and they were both really into comic books when we were growing up, which would have been, early 90s. So you're at that like sort of peak image era, like Marvel's blowing up with the X-Men and all that kind of stuff. So my sisters bought a lot of those comics, and then I would read their comics. So I grew up on like Chris Claremont and Jim Lee and that kind of stuff. And then later in life, when I got a little older, I got into it and started buying comics myself, which was Jeff Johns' Flash Run, I think, was like the first thing that really pulled me in. So it was like Johns, and then anything by Mark Waid early on. I was really a big fan of like his Secret Identity 4-issue prestige format series. And there was just like, I became a huge DC nerd for a while, and then I expanded out into sort of everything.
Well, of course you'd be a DC nerd. I mean, considering Superman's actually from Cleveland, so
yeah, that's true. Yeah, and he was created by Jewish creators, so that speaks directly to me as well. So, but yeah, comic books and reading and all this kind of stuff. I mean, like what influenced STM early on, Small Town Monsters early on, more than anything was I was actually a freelance reporter. Newspaper reporter when we started creating the movies. So I think a lot of our stuff was influenced by what I was doing with my freelance work for the newspapers, especially like how we approached the subjects and the focus being more on the people than the monsters, and all that kind of stuff. So when anytime I have a chance to nerd out for a little about comic books, I'll take it. I don't read as much as I used to, but I barely have read it all in like 3 years. But anytime I see a comic book store, I'll go.
Wow, good on you, sir.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is there any monsters that you really want to do? You guys just haven't had an opportunity?
Yeah, there's a few. The Jersey Devil's the one we get asked about the most often, I think. And it's gonna happen. I just don't know when yet. But the Jersey Devil and the Dover Demon, which is this New England-based tiny alien-looking little bug-eyed monster that we haven't managed to get around to yet. Yeah, there's tons. I mean, there's a monster in Montana called the Flathead Lake Monster that I've always wanted to do something about. So yeah, and I mean, with cryptids, you'll never really run out of subject matter. There's plenty of those stories, and when you do run out of subject matter, you just go back to Bigfoot, because there's always something about Bigfoot to be done.
Yeah, I mean, it's an ongoing mystery. Yeah, my first experience with Bigfoot was actually through word of mouth with my brothers. They would tease me as a kid because I grew up between Arizona, Illinois, and Virginia. And the first half of my first 10 years of life was in Phoenix. And they told me that Bigfoot would come down from Flagstaff and get me, and he could reach me through the window. And that was the way they got me to be quiet at night.
You were more likely to be gotten by the scorpions, is what I was. Oh. I was just in Phoenix last summer filming on the Trail of UFOs. We did like 2 episodes in Phoenix.
Because of the Phoenix Lights and stuff.
Oh, the Phoenix Lights, yeah. And then we had interviews scheduled there as well. But everyone just kept telling me about scorpions and camel spiders, and I was horrified.
Let me tell you something, dude. Those first few years of the formative years of my life were in Phoenix, and my grandmother made us keep our shoes outside on the patio. And to this day, I still have the habit of shaking my shoes out before I put them on, because you were taught to do that.
Now you have snakes in Missouri.
What?
Snakes in Missouri.
Oh, well, we have timber
tell
rattlers.
People that live out in the country. do
Yeah, we have
that.
scorpions here too.
Yeah.
But in Phoenix, man, you had
Ugh.
everything. And I remember this migration of tarantulas when I was a kid. In the car, we were stopped by just a carpet of tarantulas crossing the highway. And it's like, what in the hell? And I just kept telling people in my family, can we move?
Yeah.
I really don't like it here. This place is horrible.
Yeah,
And
our Airbnb in Phoenix had plexiglass around the base of the beds, which I guess is they do that so the scorpions can't crawl up into the bed at night. So,
Yep.
So I didn't sleep much while we were in Phoenix, and I was excited to get out of there. And also, it was 100. For some reason, I thought it'd be a great idea to film in the desert Southwest during the height of July, and so it was like 120 degrees when we were there filming.
Yeah, it's 110 to 120 in the shade.
Yeah.
Just not a good idea. You got to go there in the fall because it's like 70 degrees, a balmy 70 degrees.
Yeah.
You know, it's always cool. You wake up with frost, you know, on your lawn in the mornings.
Mm-hmm.
I hated living there. I really did as a kid. I moved my daughter back down there, and she fell in love with it down there. I moved back here to Missouri. I'm like, no thanks. I'm done with Arizona. Yeah, they don't have tornadoes, but everything else sucks. It's like, so the UFO lights down there, did you guys get to see anything while you're out down there?
No, I would steer clear of any questions that are going to ask me if I've seen anything, because you're just going to be disappointed every single time. I like we were filming.
Note to self: must ask him if he's seen anything at every point of this interview.
We were filming down there for like 4 days, and we did see, like, we were in Sedona one night and saw a light in the sky that went down behind a mesa, and we couldn't figure out what that was, but it was more than likely a helicopter. But yeah, we just didn't. I don't know what it is. I don't know if we have, like, we're repelling like strange phenomena or something, but like. We just don't have those crazy experiences.
Yeah, it only happens to people who don't want to have it happen.
It is. It's like the people who aren't looking. That's the people that have it happen.
I got to tell you, we went to see Lord of the Rings.
I would want it.
Yeah, I would too. I would love it. While we were in Phoenix, I went to see Lord of the Rings, and my brother-in-law and my sister and I are standing out in front of the theater, and all of a sudden these lights are in the sky moving around, and I'm like, oh shit. And then I realized after a few minutes that they're going out, they're fading out, and I'm like, oh, they're Chinese lanterns.
Yeah. Chinese lanterns are responsible too for like a ridiculously large number of UFO sightings. So
yeah, and they're easy to find. They're easy to figure out because they don't last very long.
Right. And they tend to stay in like that same sort of. They're very slow. They move kind of.
They move with the wind.
Yeah.
And there's not much wind in Arizona.
Yeah.
Have you seen that Adam Green movie? This whole entire time I've been trying to remember the title. He does like a monster documentary, but they film it like it's a horror film. But they film it like a documentary about monsters out in like the woods. It's really good. I keep wanting to say the Marrows. I don't think that's it. When I get off here, I'm gonna find it. You should just type in Adam Green. It's a really good movie, but your stuff, that's what it reminds me of.
Oh, cool.
Is it on Netflix?
Like a real version of that movie.
Right, yeah.
So that'd be Digging Up the Marrow. Digging Up the Marrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't seen it.
You should really watch it. It's I don't know. He's a writer director, and he does mostly horror films. He did the Hatchet movies.
This is Adam Green.
Yes, yeah. He did the Hatchet movies and everything.
Oh, cool.
He did that movie. I made fun of the movie Frozen very badly.
But you should watch that movie because that's what it kind of reminds me. Your stuff kind of reminds me of it.
Cool.
Yeah, Digging Up the Marrow. Yeah, it's Digging Up the Marrow.
So he wrote it.
And they film it like a documentary, and it's near the end. It's actually pretty creepy. But they film it like
Ray Weiss in it. I'm in. I'll have to watch this because I'm a big Ray Weiss fan.
But it's about monsters. It's
awesome.
really good.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
That's what when you were talking about like how like how you guys are filming and stuff like that. They
Mhm.
don't have as many interviews, but it's like it's almost as if it really happened to him. Like
Yeah,
that's how they're filming it. Like
that's awesome.
he's himself. But it's really neat. You should check it out.
Yeah,
And
sure.
watching your trailer, I was like, this really reminds me of that, like that feel, which I
Yeah.
love that feel. So I'm excited. I'm excited to watch more of your stuff.
I'll have to check
I want
that
to
out.
see your horror film. You said you're doing like a narrative, right?
So yeah, we're working on it, and I can't really say anything about it because we're still in the process of getting
Oh no! God damn it!
financing and all that kind of stuff. But it does involve Bigfoot, and it's historical, so it's a period piece that involves Bigfoot.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got it. Bigfoot meets Lincoln, right?
That's
Come
it.
on, man.
That's it. It's Abraham Lincoln, Bigfoot hunter.
Yes.
Nice.
Adolf Linkler from Rick and Morty. He's half Hitler, half Abraham Lincoln, and he meets Bigfoot.
I love
I'm
horror.
sorry.
I love horror films.
Yeah,
So
Brett
I'm
is a horror film junkie. I mean, I guess I am too, but I kind of spread myself out because I like good sci-fi. I like good horror. I like good films.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what the genre is. I just like good storytelling. I get annoyed when something doesn't make sense, which is why I made fun of that movie Frozen. There was stuff in there I was like, going, oh, come on. Nobody would do that.
I was literally just I was literally just watching Killer Clowns from Outer Space again for the 55,000th time.
Yeah, and I'm
But
friends
like,
with the Chiodos, and we're going to get them on this show. Sandy's
Keith
going to
got
help
me
us
a-
get them on here.
Keith got me an autograph from them with the clowns. I was pretty stoked about
Nice.
it.
You
Yeah,
know,
I have it framed.
I'm a huge fan too, Keith, and you just forgot me. You're a dick. You are a dick.
Dude, that was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I have it framed now.
But
But yeah,
I would.
that's what's nice about horror, though, in my opinion. I feel like horror is one of the only films you can watch, and like going into it, you have to suspend your disbelief. Like that's why most horror films, I think, you can
Except
find
reality-based.
good in all
If
of them.
Except with reality-based horror, which you know, because Ridley Scott, when he made Alien, set kind of a standard. And you tell me what you think, Seth. Because I felt that Ridley set a standard that said even when you do the right thing, you still could end up dead. Even when you make the smart decision, you can still get killed. And that was what was scary about Alien.
I saw Alien too late in life for me to find it scary, but I was a big fan of the fact that it was basically a haunted house movie in space.
Yeah.
So,
Or you couldn't escape.
yeah, I never found Alien or Aliens scary. I actually thought Alien. What was the fourth one that where they went underwater? I saw that one in theaters, and I remember being terrified of that movie for some reason. I think because of the scene where they swim underwater. Is that Alien Resurrection? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
have the
really
same problem.
Where Ripley is in a bed of aliens. It's
Yes.
a weird scene.
yeah.
Written
there's a
by
lot of
Joss
weird
Whedon,
things.
kind of, sort of.
That's right. Yeah. But yeah, I do love Alien, and it's like the Thing is one of those movies too, where I saw it too late to get scared by it, but I loved it. It just never had an
Yeah,
impact.
it's like the number 2 favorite film of all time for me.
Mhm. Yeah.
And,
Well, have you
and-
watched the original version of The Thing?
Oh yeah.
Or did you just see John Carpenter's version of The Thing?
Oh, you're talking about Thing from Another
Thing
World.
from Another World.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen them both. Actually, The Thing from Another World is one of those things that I watched repeatedly while we were making the Flatwoods Monster movie, because it was from that era where I was trying to kind of capture that vibe. But yeah, I love anything from that like 1950s sci-fi.
Yeah, it was actually the first alien invasion movie.
Mhm.
And it set the standard by which nobody even came close to trying to match it
Yeah.
at the time. Invasion of the Saucermen, you know, all that stuff was. It was
Them.
cheap. It was well, them was actually a lot of fun. In my opinion, I always felt that the movie Aliens, Cameron's film, stole from the movie Them. A lot of the plot points. And because I'm like, it can't be a coincidence that there's so many thematic and plot point similarities. It can't be accidental. But
I think
big fan of
a
them.
lot of people still though. Was it?
Oh yeah.
There's like 7 stories and it's how you tell it, or whatever. Like 7
Oh
original
yeah,
stories.
Hitchcock always said there's
Something like that.
nothing new under the sun. It's just how you tell it that makes it original.
Well.
And well, so I like the idea that you're going to be venturing away from documentary and moving towards more storytelling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a manager, and this is like one of the big things she's been pushing for about a year. Was she would like to see me start tackling some narrative work, but I don't know how far I'll go with narrative work either. I love movies and I love filmmaking, but I'm as much about remaining independent and getting to do it with the people that I like. Because we've had the opportunity to go to Hollywood and have just never really taken it. We get pretty constant, messages and phone calls from distribution companies and companies that want to make a TV show based on small town monsters, and it's not really what I want to do. So at some point,
take so much away. Like if you're not careful, it's like we want you to do it, but we want to replace your DP or.
Oh yeah.
We want to pick your stories and.
Yeah, that's one of the big reasons we haven't done it is they have their own direction they want to take things in, and it's never. The first time we did some sort of like TV show pitch meeting, it somehow turned into Small Town Monsters would be myself and 2 of my producers in a van with Megan Fox driving around the United States looking for monsters, which if you've seen any of our movies is not at all what we do. So
no.
Let's just throw Megan Fox in there. No one will notice. It'll be fine.
No, but
weird...
Megan the monster that you're looking for.
We've already done
Do the whole
they've already done that.
Moving around, blurry, slightly out of focus.
Doesn't everybody have Megan Fox drive them around when they like look for monsters? I know that's what happens to me on the weekends.
Yeah, it's so
like,
passe.
I thought that was for everybody.
Turtles.
Yeah.
Are you glad you came on, Seth? Are you glad?
Oh yeah.
This is what we're like. We this isn't an interview show. This is us just a bunch of nerds talking nerd shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like the slogan says up above, talking nerd stuff. And it just, we all, I don't know about you, but I have ADD. Keith has ADD, and I think Brittany has it too.
I don't, but I can pretend so I can fit in.
I'm excited. You should show everybody your shirt again. I know you showed us before we went live, but you should.
It's a variation. It's the Halloween variation of your small town logo.
Yeah, it's and that actually was created by Zach, who's the DP of Small Town Monsters movies. Keith, like what comics are you into? Do you still read?
Yeah, I still read. Look, I grew up with everything. Before I moved to Missouri, living in Ohio, I got my start just with everything. I got my start with DC Comics, Marvel Comics, with Fantastic Four, Justice League, Batman, Deadman, Iron Man. I mean, you name it. I tried to read it, and I love it still. It's hard to get away from it. But for me, I mean, if I had to pick a character that I really loved when I was little, I started out a Superman and Spider-Man fan. And then, I got hip to what the reality was and became a Batman fan from then on.
There you go.
So. Do you follow characters or creators?
Both, because for me, all of that just started around the same time. My brother and I were wanting to break into television when we were younger. And so we started learning about creators, back when we were 7, 8 years old. So we knew who Irwin Allen was. We knew who Bruce Geller was. We knew who, of course, Gene Roddenberry was. We learned all of the producers for all of the shows that we liked. We knew we anything that we could look up and find, we knew it, we understood it. And with comic books, that became the same thing. You know, Julius Schwartz, Stan Lee, Rob Goodwin, you know, and then the added thing about, you know, Clark Kent and Superman being from Cleveland. Of course, you know, we get into that entire thing. And it's followed us all the way to Missouri and beyond. And I've been lucky enough to run into a lot of very, very creative people, which is what I'm doing on this show with Brittany and Gerry. So,
yeah, because Keith and I have been friends for a while, and we met. I was a guest of honor at VisionCon in Missouri, and he worked for VisionCon, and we became instant friends. Talking because we had the same type of upbringing, watching the same stuff, paying attention to Bruce Geller, Gene Roddenberry, all that shit. We read the same comic books. I transitioned from Marvel to DC and then back to Marvel as a young adult. It's just weird the similarities we had in the stuff we did. And,
yeah, he was a guest and I was an annoyance.
No, you weren't.
Brittany,
I kept trying to get you to come over. I'm like going, I need to talk to that black dude again. What's his name? Keith.
And I don't really know them. I don't really know these guys. I'm just here. Like, I don't really know either.
Look, Brittany's cool like that. Don't let her fool you. She is like a living, breathing, just all around one of the coolest people that you'll ever meet, and very creative.
Where are you guys at in Missouri, though?
Springfield.
Southwest Missouri.
Okay.
So
I'm in
we're
which is basically right outside Springfield. And I'm in Joplin, which is an hour now outside of Springfield, because I lived in Springfield for 25 years. And I finally decided I need a change. I'm going to go to an even smaller city, Joplin.
Joplin has the spookulates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked about those in episode 7 of On the Trail of UFOs.
Also, Springfield, and I worked on the movie, technically, Albino Farm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I just walked up on set, and I'm friends with the effects guys. And somebody was doing something really stupid. They were shooting at the cave at the park.
Mm-hmm.
Keith, you know where I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The cave at the park. Bat cave.
Yes.
And they're shooting a scene, and this idiot doesn't know what he's doing. So I walked up, and I'm like, God damn, and I started fixing what he was doing. And I ended up getting credit for working on the film, even though I didn't get a damn dime for it. I'm like, it's an air cannon.
You know, I look at it this way. You know, Missouri, especially Southwest Missouri, seems to be a place that attracts a lot of people from Ohio. There's a lot of people that I've known for years that started out in Ohio like I did. And so it seems to be this place that seems to attract a lot of people, you know, from all over the state. I know people that are from where you're originally from. Southern half of the state, northeast part of the state, northwest part of the state. You know, they just seem to find themselves here, and we usually find each other either by Ohio State shirts that we wear or by our license plates, or at least by the license plates of those people that still haven't gotten their Missouri plates yet. So
yeah.
So if you ever want to come hang out, you'll know a lot of people probably.
Yeah, you should.
And if you come here, you should get us to come to the set and document your shooting here.
Yeah, I'm the closest I'll be to Missouri that I know of. I'm supposed to be in Alton, Illinois in June, which is right across the river from Missouri. But that's probably a drive for you guys.
Have you ever looked into the Albino Farm stuff?
No.
You should look up that stuff. Plus, I think one of those roads is here, that Ghost Road, up north of us. And we got a lot of weird stuff here in Missouri. Plus, we have the Pythian Castle.
Okay.
Which is haunted.
I don't know what that is.
Again, have fun. If you're into this stuff, go look this stuff up.
Okay.
There's a lot of shit here in Missouri that's fascinated me.
We'll be here to answer all your questions.
The the Pythian's like a really old castle,
Mm-hmm.
and it's haunted. I've been in there one time at Halloween.
One time?
Nathan, yeah, only once. That's enough for me. I don't want to go back. Beautiful place. Don't want to go back. We went and saw
5 times.
Nathan Shelton, their web series Shadowbound.
Yeah, I did the poster for that.
Yeah, we did a showing like on Halloween at the castle. So we did a showing, and then afterwards we did a ghost tour. I was like uncomfortable the whole entire time. I was like, I am ready to leave.
Here we
It's
go.
like right when we go right when we go down. Yeah, right when we go
that's
down
the Pythian Castle right there.
That's awesome.
into the basement. Like they didn't even start the tour yet. We were just like in the basement. They're like, all right, everybody, this is what's gonna happen. And I'm like, nope, I'm ready to leave. I'm like, I'm good. I've watched a lot of horror films. This ends badly for everybody. Like, so I'm gonna say I'm gonna leave, but I got stuck in a group and I had to go through the whole thing. It's a beautiful place, but I will not go back.
I'm not bothered by that. My buddy Mac and I have wanted to go out to Albino Farm and camp out. Just spend the night and see what the hell happens. Even
You guys
record
need
it,
to
maybe.
watch more horror films. Watch more horror films.
All
All those instincts will go away.
Yep.
They'll all go away.
I watch films. I just that stuff doesn't scare me. I find it fascinating. I've wanted to have a paranormal experience my whole life, and I've had some weird shit happen to me. I told Keith one time I lived in a house owned by Robert E. Lee in Virginia, and it was really haunted, and there was some weird shit that happened there. Every single one of my black friends would not come in that house. Not one of them. They if we're all going to go hang out, they parked out front and honk for me. We ain't going in there, motherfucker. No way.
I've had stuff happen before, and it's like I don't want it to happen again. I don't want it to happen again. I'm fine with it not happening again. So I just watch horror films. I can scare myself that way, and then when I turn it off, I can run down my hallway and be scared for a few minutes, and then I'll be fine.
Let's point out what is a favorite horror film.
Yeah.
Tell us, Seth, what's your favorite all-time horror film?
What does it for you?
And did anything ever scare you?
Well, I mean, my secret is that I'm not a huge horror guy. It's funny because I basically make horror documentaries. But yeah, I'm not a huge horror guy. Like my 5 favorite movies are Spinal Tap, Singing in the Rain, Star Wars, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and Casablanca. So I just have never been like a huge horror guy.
Very diverse.
I grew up on classic horror, so it's probably going to be something like
Hammer.
It probably would be. It'd probably be like the horror of Dracula or the Hound of the Hammer.
I love the
Baskervilles.
That was good.
Yeah. I do
Peter
love
Cushing and Christopher Lee.
Yeah, anything with those guys. I love like The Shining, and 70s horror is good. Early 80s, I like really bad slasher movies occasionally. I saw Jason X in theaters once, and that was like one of my favorite movie-going experiences of all time. But yeah, I don't see enough horror for me to be like an authority on it. I feel like I just never. I don't know why, because I grew up on monster movies, but like as far as like modern horror and stuff like that goes, I just don't have a vested interest in it.
That's all good. That's what really makes you interesting.
But monster movies have a whole different vibe to me, though. You know what I mean? Than horror films.
Yeah.
Like, even though they classify monster movies in the horror film categories.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like American Werewolf in London. That's monster wise. Like to me, that should be a monster movie. To me, it shouldn't be like a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I love that movie, and that movie doesn't scare me necessarily. But like as far as
no, like it made me laugh. But I
was going to say it's as much a comedy as it is anything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was that had a big impact on me as well. That film.
Mm-hmm.
That the transformation, like the monster transformations, like I don't know, it was like one of the coolest things I saw when I was a kid.
Yeah,
like
the
I
effects
was
on
just
there are
like,
amazing.
holy crap!
Yeah,
Like, so werewolves are real.
The Howling and American Werewolf were close together in their release, and it was so funny because they're two of my favorite werewolf movies ever made. And you had the student of the other makeup artist doing the effects on the other, Rick Baker on American Werewolf and Rob Bottin on The Howling. And Rob Bottin, and I always make, I'm very loving of that guy, but the bladders that he used in it were just like way overdone. Just like so much cheek pumping and forehead pumping.
Oh, I love it. Anytime anything uses practical effects over everything, I'm like, sign me up.
We did a werewolf movie called The Bray Road Beast, which is about this sightings of this
the dog man.
Yeah, basically like a real life werewolf in Wisconsin. And that was like the movie where I was able to sort of sandwich my love of Hammer horror and my love of werewolves together, because we have some really, like, the way that opens is basically like something you would see in an old Hammer movie, and that was also the movie where I really started trying to get away from solely using animation to do the recreations, and it's funny, we've been approached by like production houses wanting to know if our werewolf suit is for sale. Because they really like the werewolf suit. And we've had to tell them that is a $5 werewolf mask that we bought on Amazon that we stuck bicycle reflectors in. And then one of the VFX guys created the actual suit, but it wasn't a full body. It was like there was some hair up in this area, and then there were spandex arms. I think the hair came down to like here. We were just trying to keep it in shadow, and then we figured if you could really like show the eyes, it would work. And I think it does. Like if you watch the movie, it's that's probably the effect that's in an like a practical effect that's in our movies that I'm most proud of, because it worked really well.
Well, one of the things I'm grateful for is I have Prime, Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And that's allowed me to see your movies.
Yeah.
Because like I kept wanting to get a hold of copies of your movies to do reviews, because I write reviews too. But I'm not going to bug you. In fact, I've been following your channel, not your personal, but for your studio, Small Town Monsters. Since you guys started, when you launched it, I immediately subscribed.
Awesome.
And it was only because I wanted to interview. I'm like, fuck, I need to friend this guy so I can get him on the show. But I love your style, man. You've got, and I love your DP. You let him know, man. He's got a fan here. I love his camera work.
Yeah, he's good. He's got a very specific style. He's not flashy. The thing Zach does the best is work with whatever's available, especially lighting wise. Like his, lately we've been doing more like elaborate lighting setups for interviews and stuff. But on Boggy Creek Monster, he did a great job of using like whatever the available lighting was to create some really cool interviews.
Yeah, and I just bought, or I've added it to my cart, On the Trail of UFOs.
Oh, so cool.
I should be watching that next, my friend.
Yeah, that's the one we just put out.
Yeah, it's like I'm opening up the page here so you can see.
So do you ever see yourself, moving beyond Hollywood to, further the rest of your career, or will you just be staying right in good old Ohio?
Yeah, no, I'm not going anywhere. I mean, like I like Ohio, but it's not even Ohio. Like I hate Hollywood. I've been out there. Like we were just out there in November. I'm friends with and under a contract agreement with Adam Wingard, who's directing the Godzilla versus Kong movie. So we have a collaboration agreement together to create a Small Town Monsters series. And I've had to tell him like multiple times that's just Hollywood for me holds no interest. And I've spent a lot of time out there. I have no interest in going out there. I have no interest even talking about Hollywood as the production system instead of like like a place. I just don't really want to work within that.
Yeah,
that
you're
whole
preaching to the choir here.
machine. Yeah.
I had my shot at it, and I
That-
was disgusted by the whole thing. And I work independently. I work for, actually, technically, I work for Tom Hanks right now, still, on a war film that he's been producing with Dale Dye.
Mhm.
I storyboarded the entire film, did the production art for it,
Yeah.
and I just designed some more artwork for memorabilia to help market it. And that's as close to Hollywood as I'm going to get. I can't stand it out there. So I hear you.
I respect that
Yeah.
though. Like I'm in filmmaking. I write and I direct and do all that good stuff.
Awesome.
But I mean,
She's
I mean,
talented. She is very
No.
talented. Don't let her
No.
sell
I-
herself short. Look her up. She is
No.
really good.
I didn't say it for him to say nice things about me, but it's like I respect that because people constantly ask me like, well, why don't you move there? And I'm like, I don't like it. I've been there a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to visit, but it's like I have friends that work out there, and like hearing their stories, I'm like, that sounds awful. Like that.
Yeah.
It's like I want to be able to make what I want and how I want to make it, regardless if there's not a huge money draw coming in.
It's not what happens that I've noticed is it stops being filmmaking and it basically goes back to what I hated, I did medical billing for 8 years, and you were a paid employee who was told what to do by a board of people. You had to attend meetings where everyone would sort of tell you what to do, and I hated all of that, and that is what filmmaking in Hollywood is. And I have no interest in dealing with boards and executives and all that kind of stuff. And like I was in I got flown out in 2018 to stay with Adam, and he took me to the Kong versus Godzilla production offices. And it was awesome, like from a film geek standpoint, because I got to go through all the blueprints and all that, all the storyboard rooms, all the pre-production models, all that kind of stuff. But the thing that was like terrifying about it to me was like he deals with like these big boards of people kind of telling him what to do, and that's like not something I'm interested in.
Well, and it's we've seen it happen. Like with Zack Snyder, for instance, like in what happened with like the Justice League situation. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of people that hate on films that's like you don't get it a lot of the times. And it's like I'm a huge DC fan, obviously, but it's like in like Suicide Squad, like I love it for what it is. But like when you hear Ayer talk and you hear the cast talk, you're like, holy crap, this is not supposed to be anything like this. Like you can see like a few pieces like kind of throughout that you're like, oh, this is where they really wanted to go.
Yeah.
And you find out years later now, it's like 4 years later, and like you have like Ayer finally coming out being like, oh yeah, like they came and said no, you're doing this.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't say no at that point, and it's like, okay. And it's like, to me, that's terrifying to think you have this beautiful thing laid out.
Yeah.
And you have all these people on board, everyone's on the same page, and then one day someone says, I changed my mind, and you just have to change everything.
Yeah.
Like that's
This
terrifying.
is who Brittany is.
Oh no.
Yes.
Awesome.
She is, isn't she?
Nah.
Yes.
So do you producer work or director work? It looks like producer mostly, huh?
That's for some of our early web series.
She's got 7 writing credits.
I had a producing partner, and we had a production company, like an indie production company here in Missouri.
Awesome.
But now, I wrote on Drifter. I wrote Strange Happenings. I co-wrote Stage Fright, and
Which I love that show. That was good.
Thanks. I'm working on a proof of concept for a horror movie, a slasher.
Awesome.
Halloween. I love Halloween. So
Cool.
that's what we're working on right now. And that I directed. But
So
so I feel the same way. It's like I want funding for that because I
Yeah.
want to make the feature. But it's like I also know that if by some chance somebody was like, hey, this is what we want, it's like we're not going to get to have the same actors more than likely, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't be attached. I'm sure they would just buy the story and then be like, see you later, and then it'll sit on a shelf, or they won't do anything with it. But it's just catch-22 in the indie world if
Yeah.
you don't have money to make what you want, but you want to make what you want. Just fine lines, I guess. But so all of that to say, like, I respect that you're choosing to continue to do it your way. That's awesome. Because a lot of people can't.
You're sitting in company of people who actually work in the film and me also the comic industry, so we actually feel your pain. And we understand your passions too.
Yeah, I think
Especially
a lot of
with trying to raise money.
Yeah. Well, we kind of lucked out in that area because last year I was approached by a film producer about optioning the rights to our Flatwoods Monster movie, and so we got to talking, and it turned out she's a film producer. She just did this movie. She produced The Devil's Backbone in 2013, which was about the West Memphis. Film. Yeah. She produced that, and then last year she did Official Secrets. It just came out in 2019. It's with I think it's Colin Firth and Keira Knightley. I know Keira Knightley's in it. I can't remember who else is in it. But anyway, her name's Liz Fowler, and we ended up signing the rights, optioning the rights to the Flatwoods Monster movie over to her. But part of the deal that we made was that she would represent Small Town Monster. She would represent us because her prior experience was as an agent. So she's actually been repping us for the last year, and obviously as a film producer, she's also able to help produce our movies. So and she has experience, getting funding for this stuff. So she's the one that's helping us get funding together for the narrative that we're working on for next year.
That's cool. I'm excited. Wow. I can't wait to see what you guys do with that.
Ditto. I'm pretty excited. Oh, what's this? What are you showing?
That's the poster for Official Secrets.
Oh, cool.
Matt Smith, Keira Knightley, and man, nice cast. Ralph Fiennes. Wow.
Yeah, she was nominated. Liz was nominated for a producing award for that movie. So she's legit. Wow. She's pretty tough. She just got us a pretty good distribution deal for all of our movies. She's been awesome. She's very protective of us, and she grew up she grew up near Pittsburgh, so she's kind of from the same area. Yeah. And so so I think she's pretty protective of us. So she's been awesome to work with.
That's awesome.
Look at that. See, I move away and everything gets better.
Here, I'm going to actually show you something here real quick. These are two of the film posters I did this year. The Kecksburg UFO movie.
I heard about that.
And that's one of the posters. And then I did Josh Becker's Warpath.
Cool.
And right now I'm working on another one for Josh. Synapse is re-releasing Running Time, which was the first movie art I ever did back in '97, and I'm getting to do the new poster, which will also be the disc cover with Bruce Campbell on it.
Awesome.
And it's kind of weird. I've always lived this weird life here in Missouri that when I moved here, I tell people, I work on movies and stuff, and people here were like, son, quit lying to us. This is the show me state. It's like, I'm like, that's why I moved to Springfield, because I've met more people that do what I do. Because when I was living in Lebanon, what a weird place that is. Sneezing, you drive right past it. It's like this podunk. In fact, somebody says, what's it like living in Lebanon? I said, a quote, if there's a bright spot in the universe, this is the furthest place from it.
I like Lebanon.
What's that, hon?
We filmed a lot. I said I like Lebanon. We filmed a lot of stuff there.
There's a lot
really nice.
There's a lot of inbreeding in that town.
We filmed a lot of stuff there. They're really nice.
Oh, the whole town is interesting, but there's a lot of assholes there too. I got the hell out of there. It's too small town for me. But Springfield fits us all. Well, except for Britt. She has to be above us and live in Nixa.
Work here.
So, with her dog, what's her dog's name? I always forget the dog's name.
Harley.
Harley Quinn. That's right.
I don't know how you can forget her name.
You can't,
HQ.
You can't talk about some of these projects, which really sucks. So we're gonna have to have you back on.
Yeah, for sure.
And dang it. Well, I'm about out of juice. We're at the hour mark. Keith,
Seth,
Rich, you guys got anything else you want to ask?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks
It's
for
great having you on, big man.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
And dude, you got to invite your DP on next time. Sit in together.
I will. Yeah, as soon as we're permitted to be in the same room with each other, I will.
Oh yeah, social isolating. Yes, yeah. I get it. I've been social isolating since I was like 7 or 8. So this is like easy shit for me.
Yeah.
It's like, seriously, I'm a complete introvert. I like staying in my studio, working on shit. I was joking with my priest. You know, we were talking about my childhood. I said my dad's version of punishment was to make me sit in the same room with him.
Yeah.
So how are you handling all this social isolation?
Me, I just want to finish filming. So as soon as it's whatever. Like, I'm used to sitting in a room alone all day and editing anyway. But yeah, my problem is I'm like halfway through a project, so I just want to get back to work
and finish it.
Yeah.
And not abandon it.
Yeah, and not go bankrupt would be nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, and how do you do that? Because like you're also a parent too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as like the filming goes, I'm usually gone. I think last year I was gone like 60 days out of the year or something. It was a lot for travel, but I mean, it's fine. Like they go with me sometimes on shoots too. I mean, they were with me for part of on the Trail of UFOs. So as he gets a little older, I think it'll expand what we can do. For now, he would be bored out of his mind, but yeah, as he gets a little older, I'm excited to take him with me.
Cool. Well, that's really cool. Hey, stick around for after the credits here, and we'll talk just for a few minutes more and plan maybe for another episode.
Cool.
But for now, that's it for Pop Culture Minefield. That's Keith, that's Brittany, and that's Seth, Breedlove down there. Go check out his movies. They're available on Amazon Prime. Go watch them now. And also his movie, the UFO movie's available for $1.99 to rent. Don't pass that up.
Per episode.
Oh wait, the episode?
There's 8 episodes. Yeah, it's an 8-episode series.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought it was a movie. Okay.
Yeah, it's a 4.5 hour long 8-episode series.
Wow. I'm all in.
Ooh.
As the poker player says, I'm all in. And with that, that's Pop Culture Minefield.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Pop Culture Minefield. If you've enjoyed the show, please remember to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Remember, you can find us at Pop Culture Minefield on both Facebook and Instagram. Thank you again.